Okay, so video 4, we're coming on to our ground sequence. So if you'd like to come into a kneeling position on the mat, we're going to come into gate pose, Parighasana, and then we're going to work with crescent moon, Adho Chandrasana, which is a back arch, and then some handstand preparation. So for gate pose, you might want to take some padding under your knees, or you can roll your mat up a couple of times to help if you have sensitive knees. We're going to come into an upright kneeling position. Notice that I still have my blocks. You only need one block this time. You may or may not need a block depending on how pointy your toes are. So if you have a block, place it over to the side, to the right side of your mat for use in a moment. First of all, we're going to come into the first stage, which is the box leg position. So take your right leg out to the side and create this right angle at the knee, so your legs are in a box shape. Feel that you can lift up through the torso all the time when we're doing these side stretches. Take the back of your right hand onto the inside knee, outside of the left hand to the side. Breathing in, stretch up with the left hand and pause. If you go no further, then this is a great place to practice. And we're aiming to get maximum distance from our left hip bone all the way up to our fingertips. So pause and stretch here. And then perhaps on your next out breath, keep that upward stretch going as the right hand migrates down towards your ankle and we're moving over into a deeper side stretch. But have a feeling this is an upward movement as opposed to a sideways movement. If this becomes quite strong, feel free to hold on to your ankle or place your hand on a block. Remember to breathe. Turn the palm face up. Breathe in, stretch up to the ceiling, and breathe out, take that arm down to the side. And then swap legs. So take the left leg out to the side into your box shape. Back of the left hand onto the inside of the knee, right hand out to the side. Breathe in, stretch up. And once again, take a couple of breaths here to pause and really establish that beautiful stretch from the right hip to the right fingertips. Next time you breathe in, keep that upward movement with the fingertips. And if you have extra side stretch, then take an extra side stretch over to the left. Keep the top shoulder stacked above the bottom shoulder, opening up in the chest as well as taking that side stretch. So avoid the temptation for that top shoulder to come down because you lose the purpose of the posture. Gaze can be up towards your fingers, to the front of the room or down towards your foot. Turn the palm face up on the next in-breath, stretch up, and as you breathe out, take the hand down to your side. So you can repeat that variation. If you want to go to the full posture, then take the leg out to the side. This time have the legs straight. If you want to place your toes on a block or a book, or whatever you have to hand, then please do. You can even roll up a blanket. You don't have to use the block. If your toes come to the floor, that's absolutely fine. Just point them to the floor. But keep the knee facing up towards the ceiling. Take the back of the right hand onto the inner thigh. Turn the palm of the left hand out. Breathing in, stretch up. Remember to pause here and establish that lovely stretch. And as you breathe out, keep stretching over to the right. Your right hand tracing down your leg. You can support the weight on your leg as long as you're not pressing on that knee. Rotate the chest open so your top shoulder stacks over your bottom shoulder. Keep stretching into your fingertips. And remember to breathe. Turn the palm face up. Breathing in, stretch up through the fingertips. Breathing out, take the hand down. Bring that knee to the floor. Take your other knee out to the side. Once again, you can use a block or you don't have to use a block. It's completely up to you. Take the back of the left hand to the inner thigh. Palm of the right hand facing outwards. Breathing in, stretch up. Establish that lovely length before tracing over. Remember to keep the fingertips really high. Go for height first and only then take it deep into the side stretch. If you want to support the body weight on that leg, that's fine, but avoid the knee. Opening one shoulder above the other. Stretching into the fingertips of the top hand. Gaze is either down, forwards, or up towards your fingers. Turn the palm face up. On the next in-breath, lift up through your fingertips. And as you breathe out, taking the hand down and bringing the knee down. Good, well done. So, still on your knees, but come towards the back of your mat. You need enough space in front of you to step forwards. We're going to step forwards with the right leg. Bring the heel onto the floor and flex the toes. And then as you begin to bring the body weight forward, bring the hips forward, the foot can come onto the floor. Keep the body weight moving forward so that the knee comes above the ankle. And then you can fold forwards and place both hands either side of that right foot. So we want the knee to be over the ankle, so the knee's in a nice alignment. And then we're going to keep the hands on the floor, but move the hips backwards and forwards a few times. So breathing out, coming back, breathing in, coming forwards. Aiming to keep your body resting on your thigh as you move forwards and backwards. So the only thing that's really working here is the hip muscles moving you back and forwards, giving you a nice stretch in the hamstrings. If your hands don't come easily to the floor, you can do this just as well with the hands on blocks. So please feel free to use blocks under your hands and keep moving forwards and backwards. And then the next time your weight comes forward, keep it there. So the knee's above the ankle again. The back knee is on the floor. Once again, you can take padding under that back knee if your knee's sensitive. So a rolled up blanket is fine. And then lift up onto your fingertips. And just take a couple of breaths here. And then take your hands to your knees, but keep the weight forwards. So my elbows are deeply bent. I'm still taking a forward fold over that knee. Now, as we begin to lift the chest, I want you to be cautious in the lower back. We're sinking the hips down to the mat, extending through the front of the body. So we're lifting forwards with the front of the body all the time. And then begin to lift the chest up. The arms become straight only because we're lifting the chest and the body takes the arms back with it. Okay, so we're not pushing through the arms at all. The hands are just resting on the knee. Lifting up with the chest, rolling the shoulders back and down. Any discomfort in the lumbar spine, take a quarter forward fold. Excuse me. Extend through the body, lift up again, roll the shoulders back and down. Sink through the pelvis. Lift up with the chest, roll the shoulders back and down. Once more, breathe in, lift the upper chest, breathe out, roll the shoulders back and down. Your gaze can be forward or you can lift the chin. If all's well, you can release the hands, float them up to the sky. Gaze is at the thumbs. Each time you breathe in, reach those fingertips to the ceiling. Each time you breathe out, take the thumbs back in space. Next time you breathe in, lift the chest, take the hands back to the hips, forward fold over your thigh, take the hands to the floor, take the hips back in space, and take that knee back to the back of your mat. And just coming back into a kneeling position for a couple of breaths. Reaching forwards with the hands and stepping the left foot forwards. Moving the foot around so that you can have the knee over the ankle. And then we'll take our movements. So the hands stay either side of the foot. Nice contact between the belly and the chest and the thigh. And we're going to move the hips back in space. Feel the hamstring stretch. And breathing in, coming forwards. And breathing out, moving back. Breathing in, coming forwards. Breathing out, coming back. Breathing in, forwards. Remember, it's fine to have hands on blocks and a blanket under that back knee. Breathing out, releasing back. One more time, breathing in, knee forwards. And breathing out, feel that lovely stretch in the back of the leg as you come back. Good, breathing in, coming forwards. Come up onto your fingertips. Extend the chest forwards. So we're already creating that nice straight spine. And then take your hands to your knee, but keep your weight forward. So the elbows are deeply bent. Begin to extend the front of the body forward. So think about your collarbones moving to the front of the room in front of you. And then we're lifting up with the chest, sinking into the pelvis. Lift with the chest, roll the shoulders back and down. Any discomfort in the lumbar spine, we come forwards a little bit, but keep the chest moving upwards and the shoulders back and down. Breathing in with the upper chest once more, lifting, and breathing out, roll the shoulders back and down. If you want to float the hands, then take them out to the sides, float them up, gazes at the thumbs. Reach into the fingertips as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, take the thumbs back in space. So once again, your gaze can be forwards or up towards the ceiling, whichever is better in your neck. Breathing in, stretch up. Breathing out, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind your back. Next in-breath, lift the torso. Take the hands back to your hips. Forward fold over your thigh, hands to the floor. Tuck the toes of the back foot under. Lift the knee from the floor. Push into the hands, coming back into downward facing dog. And take a few breaths just walking the dog, releasing the legs. Good. Coming onto the knees and coming back into your seated position. So you can be kneeling or cross-legged, whichever works better for you. Be comfortable. And we're going to work with some wrist stretches. So interlace the fingers and have the palms of the hands together. And then begin to rotate your hands around in a circle. It's actually a figure of 8, so moving the hands in a figure of 8. And then the opposite way, which always feels a little strange. Good. And taking the hands out in front, loose fists, and just circle the hands round. And in the opposite direction. Good. I'd like you to take your blocks again, or your books, or whatever you're using tonight, and come into a kneeling position, and then come into cat. Placing your hands on the block so the fingertips come over the end of the block. So the balls of your fingers are at the edge of the block. Your fingertips are curled over the end of the block. Push into your hands, so keep your arms straight, and we're going to work with extending the fingers up and release. Extend the fingers so the fingertips are coming up and release. Notice any temptation to bend your arms. Keep your arms straight. Lift your fingers and release. Lift, flex and release. Keep pushing through the hands. Lift and release. Lift and release. Once more, lift and hold. Push through the balls of your fingers. Push through your arms so your arms are straight. Lift your fingers high and release. That's great. Just get rid of your blocks. Actually, keep hold of one block. So come into kneeling once more. Take hold of your block. And so we're holding the block with the hands on the sides, and the hands are straight, so we're not gripping, we're just pushing into the block. Take it out in front of you, so extend the arms so they're straight. Squeeze the block with all your might, and then lift the block slowly to shoulder height and keep squeezing. Now take it up another quarter, lift and squeeze, and then lift it all the way up to the sky. Keep squeezing with all your might, keep the arms pushing away so they're straight, squeeze the block. Now bend the elbows, just a quarter, and squeeze. Keep the elbows in. Now half. Keep the elbows in and squeeze the block. Now take it all the way back to your upper back. Squeeze the elbows, squeeze the block. And then we're going to come back through that full circle. So lifting up slowly, half, quarter, straight. Keep squeezing the block with all your might. Arms are straight now. Come back into a quarter and a half and a quarter. And release. Good. Well done. Coming on into a seated position in the centre of your mats, knees bent. Holding behind your knees and lift your upper chest. Good. From here we're going to lift up so the toes just float off of the floor. The chest is still lifting, crown of the head moving away. And then begin to lift the lower legs so that the ankles are level with the knees. And release the hands, so boat, half boat pose. Squeezing the knees into the chest, keep the chest lifting up. If you're feeling strong, then we could do some rowing. So we're going to straighten the legs, coming back a little, hover, and then squeeze them back in again. Release the legs out, extend away, and hover, and squeeze the knees back in. Straighten the legs away, hover them from the floor, squeeze them back in. Row again. Drawing the core in all the time. One last time, take the legs straight away, out away, and hover. And then drawing in with your half boat. Bending the knees to hover the toes. And releasing the feet down. Good. So one exercise that's really good for practicing handstand is understanding the rotation and the movements in the shoulders. We need to have good, strong shoulders and awareness in the shoulders to be able to handstand. So I'd like you to come into kneeling or cross-legged, whichever is fine. So for me, kneeling is easier to lift the arms up, so which is why I kneel when I'm like this. We're going to breathe in, lift the hands up, straight above the head. and release the shoulders from the ears. So we're shrugging the shoulders back and down. Okay? And then do the opposite. So lift the fingers to the ceiling, squeeze the shoulders to the ears. This is elevation, so this is what we need to do our handstands. And then release, depressing, push up, elevating. Release. Have an awareness of what's happening in the backs of your shoulders as you do this movement. So lift the fingers up, squeeze the shoulders to the ears. Notice what's happened to your shoulder blades. And then take them back and down. Notice what happens to your shoulder blades. And then release the arms down. Okay, so in handstand we want to be elevating and pushing the hands up and away. So the other movement we want to work with is one we sometimes work in downward facing dog, which is an external rotation. It's a feeling of wrapping your triceps into your ears. So as you elevate, you also want to externally rotate. So it's lifting and wrapping. Lifting and wrapping. Okay, sometimes it's easier to practice it in downward facing dog, so let's have a go with that. So come onto your hands and knees, swing the hips back, lift up into downward facing dog. So awareness in the hands, so spread the fingers, index finger facing forward, all of the balls of the fingers pushing down into the mat. And then from here, we can take the shoulders away from the ears and feel that that gives you a lovely long loose neck. So for handstand, this is lovely for downward facing dog by the way. For handstand, we actually want to do the opposite. We want to push through the hands, feel the shoulders coming close to the ears, and then externally rotate your shoulders. It's a feeling of wrapping your triceps into your ears. Your inner elbows begin to face forwards. Push through the hands, elevate the shoulders, and wrap the triceps around by your ears. And hold. Notice if it's let go a little bit and re-engage, especially that rotation in the shoulders. And release. Bring the knees to the floor and just give your shoulders a bit of a rest. Good, we're going to practice that one more time. So coming onto your hands and knees, tucking the toes under, swinging your hips back, pushing through the hands to lift your knees and then your hips up to the ceiling. Check in with your hand position. Good. So a nice comfortable downward facing dog. The neck would be lovely, long and loose, and the shoulders would be away from our ears. We're going to reverse that. So push strongly through your hands so that your shoulders come close to your ears, and then wrap the triceps round, almost as though your armpits were coming towards each other. Push, wrap and hold. Push, wrap and hold. And release. And allow the knees to come down to the floor and shake out with your shoulders. Okay. So we're going to come back into downward facing dog. So you now have an awareness of the elevation and the wrapping with the shoulders, and we're going to try to maintain that whilst lifting one leg into three-legged dog. So come into cat position. It's fine to repeat that last exercise if you'd rather just repeat that. It's really great for building strength. Tuck the toes under, swing the hips back to the heels, push through the hands to lift the knees, and then lift the hips to the ceiling. So position the hands, push through the hands, elevate the shoulders, wrap the triceps round. Take your right foot into the centre of the mat and extend your left leg up. Keep pushing through both shoulders, elevating and wrapping. And hold. Bring the left foot down, take it into the centre of the mat, lift your right leg, push through the hands, elevate the shoulders, wrap the triceps, and hold, pushing away with that. Both legs are active, both hands pushing into the floor, wrapping your triceps around. Now bring that foot down to the floor, release the knees down to the floor, untuck the toes, and having a rest in child's pose. So bringing the head to the floor or to a block, hands by your heels, allowing the arms, the elbows, the shoulders to rest down towards the floor. Breathing in and sitting up. And just so that we could keep the shoulders nice and loose, we'll work them in the opposite direction or in a different way now. So take the hands out in front of you, rotate the palms out to the side, so the thumbs drop down towards the floor and the palms are now facing out with a little finger up. Like a breaststroke, swim the arms back behind you. You can either grab a belt or you can interlace the fingers behind your back. Either way, we're going to straighten the arms. Draw the chest forwards, squeeze the shoulder blades together behind your back and allow your chin to come down towards your chest. Keep squeezing the shoulder blades in actively, draw the shoulder blades down your spine. And then gently release the arms. Good. And then that completes our ground sequence. So if you'd like to pause the video, repeat any of those practices, that's absolutely fine, please do. Otherwise grab your warm things around you and switch to the next video.